live.
We're on right now.
We are on.
Hey, what would it take for us to create an intro?
Some creativity.
Well, I mean, do we have the program available to us?
Yeah, no, I can totally create an intro. Or you can do anybody can do it.
Does it have to be done on our new software we just bought?
No, you can create it on iMovie. We can just input it in as a file.
Oh, well, maybe I'll try and work on. Like, I could do it on my phone in like my spare time.
Yeah, whatever you want to make as an intro, we can throw it up first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can try that. So we just picked up my truck. We tow excavators and stuff, so we have to have diesel rigs. And it was making like a whining noise and thought it was the power steering, so we took it in. They replaced the power steering pump, and they also had to replace a U-joint that was out. And the U-joint was a good thing, but the power steering pump, it did fix some of the noise, but not enough for me to be like, oh, it's fixed. And it's not a noise like you're riding around like something's really wrong, but for me, I know because I know the day it happened. I know the day it went from silent to a slight wind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember the day exactly. It was the day we drove up punting, and out of nowhere, I was towing my trailer, and it just started going. Wing.
Which is weird because your trailer's not heavy compared
It's
to
not
what
heavy.
we...
It wasn't the trailer, just
Not-
the fact.
yeah.
It was just when it went. So, did blow about $600 today on a power steering pump that didn't need to be put in. But that eliminates everything except for two things now. Either my EGR is making noise because it's getting clogged, or my transmission has a noisy belt inside of it or a gear inside of it or something. But regardless, there's nothing wrong with it. It just makes a noise I don't like. So I am almost for sure trading it in at the end of the year.
So what happens when the next truck makes a noise?
Well, so here's the thing. The next truck won't have a dent on the passenger side bed.
Is that what this is
There's
all
a few
about?
things that add up in my emotional existence that make me not want to salvage. Dude, the truck's such an amazing truck, but it's like there's one dent about the size of your fist on the blind side of the bed because I ran into a tree. And it's
It's a work truck.
a work truck. There's nothing wrong with it now as far as reliability goes. I'd drive it anywhere.
Timbuktu and back.
Yeah, not even worried about that. But I go through Craigslist, look at all the trucks for sale, and I see what I could get for about $50,000, and I'm like, I don't have a truck that's lifted with badass rims on it, but I could. I've always wanted to try out a Ford because one of our partners had a Ford, and I had to drive it one day just for a short distance, but I had to drive it. It drove way better than my truck. The steering was better. The suspension was better. The seats were better. Everything was better.
So I drove his truck to Coeur d'Alene to Sandpoint
yeah.
with my camper.
Yeah.
Like, towed with it. I would take my truck over his truck on a haul.
Did it with more power or what?
Definitely more power. 100% more power.
Really?
Yes. For sure. Like, not a comparison. there.
Really?
And that was before I was chipped. That I took his truck because my truck was wrecked, which was before I chipped it.
And there was a power. You noticed
There was
a
a
power
noticeable
Really?
power difference. Yeah.
So he had a
so-
Ford F350, a 2015 or a 2016.
Yep.
And you have a 2012 Ram.
It was now. I don't know like how it converts on the numbers on torque and stuff, but I'll tell you what, climbing Snoqualmie Pass, I was all the way down on his throttle. Actually, it makes me think that's why Frank. Don't you have to get a running start?
So I got to be all the way down on my throttle too, even with my trailer, but I'm doing 70.
No, his was like all the way down, and I'm decelerating.
Really? You were losing power?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never lost power on my truck unless I'm hauling, about 16,000 pounds up a hill.
Yeah.
Like the hill.
I mean, I don't want to say decelerating like, whoa, but like I was not going. I could not gain speed. I was not going to pass.
What were you
anybody.
holding? Like 40, 50?
Like 60,
Oh, well,
60, 55.
But you couldn't get up to.
But on my truck,
everyone else was doing 75 on Snoqualmie because
yeah,
it's a 70.
and on my truck, right? Like I can accelerate uphill. I can't ever remember losing power unless I was on some crazy driveway with gravel, right? But like. Yeah, I remember just being like, well, I guess this is how fast
See,
I'm
that's
going.
the
Like,
thing.
there was no way I could pass anybody.
I
Like,
could
if I
go
got
get
behind a slow semi, I was staying behind a slow semi.
Because you didn't have enough.
I didn't have enough to get up and around him.
That sucks because I don't want to hear that because I don't want to get another Dodge even though there's really nothing wrong with the one I've got. It's just I want to try something new.
You know what you got to do? You got to set up the trailer, go near the dealership, drop the trailer, go do
Yeah.
the test drive, go hook up, and then go climb Newberry Hill.
Yeah.
And go see what you think it feels like.
Well,
Because again, my perspective, his truck, your truck feels different than my truck, and they're only 2 years apart.
like my truck feels. What do you mean?
Remember, you said your throttle's not as responsive as mine.
Well, it's not chipped or anything, so it's just a
Yeah, but
soft-
even
it's a-
before mine was chipped, you used to say like my throttle.
yeah, mine does have a throttle. You drove it for a
Yeah.
week while I was gone. It has
Yeah.
a throttle delay.
Yeah,
It's
your truck drives more sturdy than my truck, though.
yes, it's you're not racing with it, but you're towing just fine with it.
Your truck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, your truck feels solid on the road.
It just feels solid.
my
yeah,
truck
it's-
feels a little floaty. I think my front suspension's probably calibrated softer than yours, if I had to guess.
I honestly felt like the steering wheel was the problem, like the fur.
on my truck.
I'm not even kidding. I was like,
It's
I
not
gotta.
the-
It
it's
was
not
so
the fur.
big. It was like I gotta get this freaking fur wrap off here. I feel like I can't. Like if I want to put any pressure to one side or the other, my hand slides off.
It's not the fur. It's just in general. My truck has a lot lower tow capacity than yours. Yours is like 17. Mine's 12.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the suspension, but that's why I put the Timrins on it. And my transmission's got the wrong ratio for,
Yeah. Well, my truck doesn't make that whining noise when I'm towing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So if anyone wants to give
Cares
any
about
advice,
trucks.
I don't want some Ford or Chevy lover.
Six
or,
in a row, ready to tow.
yeah, yeah. I don't want someone being like, I've had Fords my whole life, never a problem, because we all know it's bullshit. Like,
You didn't have the 6.0.
yeah, you didn't have a 6-liter. Or I've had Chevys my whole life and never any issues. It's like, yeah, but you also didn't have any power. It's like I want to get a Chevy. They seem like they're pretty legit rigs these days, but
I remember talking to, it was the guys who became Logan. It was the Eglon. It was back when they were Eglon
Yeah.
Landscaping. But I was just talking to him about trucks, and he's like, it's like one of the old timers around who's been towing excavators for 30 plus years. And he's like, yeah, I've had every truck, Ford, Dodge, Chevy. I've even had a couple like weird trucks. And he's like, just telling me about, he's like, Chevys are fine. They're pretty nice, but they wear out. And Fords just don't handle the hills around here. Sometimes you just got to go from a dead start up a straight hill. And he's
Yeah.
like, we've just settled on Dodges. Dodge. They never go wrong, which is U-joints every year. And he had
Gosh
a thing. And
dang
Ron
it.
Cleaver told me the same thing. He's like, we've had them all. And they all bitched at Paul when he got his Ford. And Paul could never tow the excavators. He could
okay,
never tow one
fine.
of the
God
121s.
dang it, I'll just get a Dodge.
But you've told me the new Fords are a totally different engine than when
They are.
They're
They're not the same.
I don't know.
I talked to whatever that rental place is here in
Mhm.
Kingston. That's all they have are Fords because he bought the new one in like 2016 when they changed
Engines.
to the new 6.7. They like changed everything.
Yep.
And he said he has a boat, like a big boat, so it probably weighs 8,000 pounds, 7,000 pounds. He said he went up the pass, and he's like, I didn't have any issues. I was doing 75 and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And he said the only thing he hated is right when he got it, he broke down because the fuel pump was bad.
Yeah, I remember that. He told us, he's like, we were stranded in Tacoma.
Brand spanking new truck.
Spanking new truck. I got like a $70,000 truck and my
Yep.
wife on a date, and here we are calling a tow truck, and he was all upset.
Yeah, but so he has nothing but Fords now, and I mean, you go and look at on paper, all three rigs are dang close to being the same thing, but
Mhm.
power wise, torque and horsepower.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, we know one guy in town who has nothing but Fords, and all he ever said was he had to change his turbos, but other than that, he didn't have any
Was
issues.
that Daryl?
Yeah.
The thing is, Daryl only keeps his trucks for like 2 years.
I know,
So
he
the fact
doesn't-
that he's changing turbos, the fact that he's changing turbos on trucks and how fast he turns over trucks, since we've been in business, he's on his third red
Yeah,
Ford.
That's true.
So the fact that he's changing turbos is almost like,
Gosh dang it, I'll just get a Dodge.
I just changed to my first turbo. Should have changed it a year ago, but I got 230,000 miles out of it almost.
I've been thinking of getting
and I
bed.
even had no union on it, which meant I was blowing all kinds of soot through that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yours is not a good candidate for what's reliable or not because you had it chipped, it got in a wreck, it was blowing smoke for 6 months before you realized it was
The
missing.
turbo, the intercooler wasn't hooked up right.
Yeah, like all sorts of stuff. So it just
It squealed.
kind of like a spaceship taking off. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's people that are listening that are like, I've got to drive around a $600 Toyota 1972 Toyota pickup. What are you bitching about? It's like, well, I'm not. I drive this thing for myself, but literally 98% of the time, it's work.
Yeah.
I put it on 50,000 miles a year, and I'm willing to bet 45,000 of them are all work related.
Yeah.
So,
And a lot of it's towing. I mean, the way we've been working lately, we're 3 hours round trip to and from the job site. So, and half the time we're towing an excavator. So you're
12,000
We
pounds.
put some serious miles with some serious weight on our
Well,
trucks.
12,000 pounds with the so you're 14.
Yeah.
14 everywhere we go.
No, we put some serious miles with some serious weight on our truck and trailers and everything combined. I mean, we put a lot of miles in. I would venture to be hard pressed for a company like ours that does the similar type of work that puts as many miles as we do in the country. I'd put us up against anybody. I mean, you think about the range we cover for the size company we are with what we do. Most companies like us cover a county.
Yeah. Well,
right?
if that.
Right? Or the half of a county. And even guys, and I'm thinking about all kinds of other parts of the country. I mean, just the sheer mileage. It's not even mileage so much as it is just time, because we're not on interstate too either.
So,
we're on highway.
Okay, so like Toyota Tacoma, like they have figured out how to make a pickup that is damn reliable.
Yeah.
Like you could buy a 2019 Tacoma right now, and it'll be your last truck. You'll put 400,000 miles on it, and 300 or 250 of them won't even have a glitch.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just do normal maintenance. And why can't they make that in a larger version with more power? Is it not engineered?
Have you seen some of the new Tacomas lately? They look so good.
I know, but is it not possible to make a truck that powerful that's that reliable?
Is the Tacoma considered powerful?
No, like I'm talking about a truck that could tow what we tow all the time, but be reliable for. I mean, it's not completely fair to me to be saying that because I've put 130 on my truck without anything except for that U-joint we got replaced and the power steering pump that didn't need to be replaced.
Yeah.
And brakes.
I think this is like one of those classic "the grass is greener on the other side" scenarios where it's like you see the Tacoma and you're like, oh, but No,
I'm saying why can't a truck be made that's as reliable as a Tacoma?
I question if we're not there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at 230. And I've had issues, but really when you talk about like mechanical issues, like non-rec related, kind of in that situation. I mean,
yeah, I remember one of our customers one time.
And Eric Cleaver's maroon truck, all he'd ever done on that was U-joints.
He only had 130,000 miles on it.
No, he didn't. He had almost 350.
Nope.
Dude, I will call
when
him
he
right
left
now.
when he left here and moved to Utah.
Should I call him right
now? When he left here and moved to Utah, he had 150,000 miles on it. And I remember him telling me that because he said, I just got the transmission replaced, so I should be good for another 150, right? And I was like, probably. Hey, Eric, how many miles are on your maroon truck? He's not going to answer because he doesn't like you.
Let's not tell that story. He likes me well enough.
He's afraid the devil's going to come through the phone. If he answers, it'll chase away the spirit.
Let's see. Come on, Eric. Come through for us here. He's got a maroon Dodge truck. Darn. He's got a maroon Dodge truck. It's
an 04, 03, 05. It's one of those years.
Well, he had the white Dodge, and then he moved into the red Dodge. I want to say it was like an 06 or 07.
It's not an 07. He has the old body style, so it's...
Well, the old body style was all the way to 2010.
07 and a half.
So the blue Dodge was an 08.
It goes.
But
the white.
he got his Dodge after the gray Dodge. The gray Dodge was an 06. So he was either an 07 or an 08.
Maybe. I don't think it was that new, but it doesn't matter to me either way. It's the old body style.
Well, 07.
He had a 5.9. He didn't have a 6.7.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was before 2007.
But he had 300 plus thousand miles. I don't know what you're talking about. 100 something.
I know for a fact he only had 150. Because he's like, I just got my transmission replaced, so I should be good for another 150, right? And we were talking about it. He didn't have that many miles. They stayed. All their business was right around here. They never went anywhere.
I remember his truck having like 300. I remember that was like...
They used the white Dodge for everything. That's why...
The white Dodge was well over
That's
300.
why the Dodge had 320 or whatever on it.
Yeah, but he...
315.
But he'll probably end up calling me back. But I'm going to ask him.
Drop him a text right now. Just say, hey, I was just curious. How many miles are on your maroon Dodge or your maroon Ram? You know what, though? Those trucks... I wouldn't be making, I wouldn't be going down in class if I were to trade my truck in and get an old one, but I would be sacrificing a ton of power. I remember one day we pulled out of a lot, me and Eric, and he had to throw it in a four-wheel drive to make it up the hill.
Yeah.
I've never had to do that on asphalt.
Think about that truck, and I kind of got this impression with the blue Dodge. It's almost like it was like the tailgate was like the counterweight, but the rest of the truck was just too light.
The Dodge,
Like those,
the blue one.
that body style, like the body was, it felt weak. Like it felt like it was like a thin sheet metal. And so the truck always had, I always felt like it felt a weird, like weighted weird. Like the '08 Dodge versus my 2012 Dodge.
Well, it was a long
Obviously,
bed.
it's a different body,
It was a long
long bed.
bed.
I know, but it just felt like the weight was different. But it was the same way with the '06 Dodge, the short bed gray Dodge we had. I kind of felt the same way. It was just like, oh, it was a little bit lighter. It's probably not lighter on a scale. It just had like a lighter center of gravity
Sure.
balance kind of thing going on. Because even when I drove that '08 a lot because of all the time my truck was down.
Yeah,
And it felt like I'd had to go in this 4-wheel drive all the time to
that's crazy.
do things with it.
Yeah,
Maybe it had to do something with the long bed too. I don't know.
it's just okay. So
Could've
here's
been tires,
here's
all
the
that
commitment.
factors.
If we keep the truck I've got, I'm gonna have to do the work myself to save the money because it's just too much money to hire it out. But I'm gonna chip it. That's about $2,000 in parts.
Are you gonna do the deletes, or are you just gonna?
I'm gonna strip that bitch.
You're not just gonna do emission friendly tuning.
Nope. I'm gonna strip it so it can just breathe. That's all I think it needs is just some air.
Those guys really seem to think that that's not the way to go because they're going to change all the standards like California. And
I think they're just
take you off
paranoid.
the road. You
Yeah,
think
just
so?
paranoid, yeah. So I've done a lot of research for places, and I'm going to end up going with double R diesel out of Oregon. So what they do is you buy the package or whatever you want. You don't have to get a package, but I'm going to get a package just because it's all in one area. They mail it to you. You take the software out. You download it on your computer. You take the tuner, set it up to your truck without doing any mods to your truck. You set it up to your truck. You download your truck's data. You send that back in a file through email to Double R Diesel. They then write you up a program for several things. Whatever you purchase. You can purchase street mode. You can purchase tow mode. You purchase all these different modes. Each mode costs money. So it's not unlimited programs. Then they email it back to you. You download that onto your tuner. And then you hook it up to your truck. Make sure everything works before you start mechanically touching anything. And then if it all goes through fine, then you go and rip off all your emissions stuff, your exhaust, catalytic converter, all that crap, and save it because you're probably going to want to put it back on someday if you ever trade it and sell it or someone wants it. And then that's it. It's a day project. I talked to them because I was really concerned about getting it done last year when my EGR was saying I needed to clean it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I told him I used to be a mechanic, nothing serious. He's like, oh, it's a one-day project for the lay.
Yeah.
It's just you're just unbolting stuff and putting it on and making sure the programs go through, and that's it. But he writes you custom programs for your truck. That's why you have to download your stock data and send it to him. He doesn't just take your stock data and then use a comparable data to match it. They just write a tune for what your truck's doing. And that's what they do too down at Flying Ranch. That's when we talked to them about it. They do the same thing. They write the tune for it.
They just won't do all the deletes.
Yeah, this guy doesn't either. He's not a shop.
Yeah.
He just sells the stuff, which is
tuner,
legal.
okay.
So that is like $2,300 for the
Mhm.
pipes, the caps, the tuning, the programmer, the software. Then so now that's deleted. So now we're talking about things to make the truck run right. There's that, and then I need new tires, so that's about $1,800. So we're at $4,000 with tires and tuning to get it like, hey, this is a very reliable truck. You can't find anything mechanically wrong with it.
And how much is the EGR cleaning or the EGR?
1,000,
1,000.
and they keep it overnight. It's a day process. They take it apart, clean it, put it back together.
They don't just replace it. They don't put the new one in.
Oh,
So-
it'd be way more expensive to replace it.
Why did Ricky Bobby do mine in the parking lot? The toilet paper rolls. It took him like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He replaced it. And we bought the part. I remember it was like $800.
So I have that too, and that's not the EGR.
Is that not the EGR?
It's there's a filter underneath your
cap,
your valve
Cummins,
cover.
Yeah.
You take your valve cover
Yeah.
off and switch it. Yeah, I did that already. I've already done that.
You know what's interesting about that?
That's not your EGR.
Okay, so Ricky Bobby, such a dork.
We're idiots for hiring a guy that goes by Ricky Bobby.
Literally,
I want to point that out.
Literally to this day, I'm like, well, that's my EGR because that's what Ricky Bobby fixed was my EGR, and it was like, oh, we don't have to take
He
this shop. I'll
tells you
just
it
buy
was-
this.
That's not the EGR.
And then it's like, oh, I just continue to drive. With
You know what
clogged
though?
EGR.
I keep thinking about him and that all his knowledge was based off Rams up to a certain era. Because like what he drove,
Yeah.
he knew that thing inside and out.
Yeah.
Something went wrong on my 05, and he knew what it was before. There was no issues. He just knew what it was.
Yeah.
And he came down. I was broke down. He came down and fixed it on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, okay, but he doesn't know. That era didn't have EGR. They didn't have anything.
Yeah.
They just had a catalytic converter.
Well, and Ricky was notorious for calling a buddy. Calling a buddy.
He's got a buddy.
Got a buddy. Call a buddy.
We all
at
know the guy that's got a buddy.
Yeah, he's got a buddy.
Those are the worst guys to be around because they always think they're getting a deal. We had a guy that worked for us one time that always got deals,
Yeah.
and it was like, maybe you paid $50 less than the average.
Who was that? The
Yeah, you know.
uh,
Yeah.
I don't know who it is.
It was the guy that you didn't like, but I did.
It starts with an S.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he got a chainsaw one day, and he's like, got us a deal, got a new bar, save this, save that. And I'm like, listen, man, you might have saved $100, but we spent $1,000 on a chainsaw, so what are we talking?
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah, they know a guy.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows a guy, if they're getting a real genuine hookup, you don't even tell people you know that guy. You keep it a secret, and you keep it to yourself because they're hooking you up, like, for real.
Mm-hmm.
When you're really getting a hookup, you don't go blab in your mouth.
Yeah. You know what phrase I picked up from Ricky Bobby is,
Hey, buddy.
I got a buddy.
Hey, buddy.
No, my buddy. Like when he first started talking, like
Bub.
Yeah, he called hey Bubs, hey Bubs. But no, when he'd always be like, I got a buddy who knows XYZ, or I got a buddy I can call. I got a buddy. Everybody was his buddy, and it was like, man, crap, how many buddies do you have? Well, now it's like I meet someone for the first time ever, and like if you were talking to me like, yeah, I'm looking to chip my, I got a buddy up at Flying Ridge. You're like, give me his number.
You would say he's your
Like,
buddy.
he's my buddy, even though I've only ever worked with him professionally.
What
and
you're really saying is, I know a company that can do that work
I
for
know
you.
I got a buddy.
So I was thinking while you were talking about that, my mind was wandering to all the times we've ever seen our employees do things that make us wonder why we're so dumb. Like, remember the day that we had to do some trucking. We had dump trucks. We had to go do some trucking. Ricky Bobby was the one driving, and he was in a place where he wasn't supposed to be. He was behind schedule to begin with, and you saw him like park somewhere, and you went and approached him about it.
He's like, oh, this is my That's right. So he was down in Port Orchard.
It's like people running errands while they're getting a truck that gets 3 miles to the gallon.
Yes, my dump truck.
While
is
we're
idling.
waiting for shit to be delivered to
my
a job
dump truck
site.
is idling on the side of the road where he's not supposed to be. He's nowhere near the path that he's supposed to be on, and he's out in the yard talking to his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come up, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I was talking to my buddy. He might cut us a deal on this 1992 F-250 with a job box on it." And it's like, all we got to do is put a front axle on it. Isn't that great, Taylor?
When
It's
he
like,
was actually down there looking for himself
It was like,
to resell it.
what are you talking about? I don't want a job truck. I don't want a 92. I don't care about that job
You're
box
supposed
for
to be
sure.
delivering
Like,
pea gravel to a job
I'm
site.
pretty sure I got 4 guys on a site waiting for the 3/4 minus.
Yeah.
It's in your truck. Let's get going, man.
Yeah, dude, the weirdest thing ever. So then when the event's all over, you're like looking at yourself in the mirror like, what just happened there? Was I the idiot? Because did I give him unclear instructions on what I needed him to do? Or was he totally just doing something wrong on the clock?
Yeah.
Like, it just makes you feel retarded. It makes you wonder what the hell was going on. The story, like, because
when you're young, I was young, so I'm going,
when you tell that story to someone else, the questions that just start coming up, you're like, I can't answer the questions you're asking. It was just one of those moments, like, what was going on?
like, it was so wrong that I just assumed he had a reason.
Yeah.
Like, we're so out of your.
You mean when we caught Mike going up to Gliding Eagle, a complete opposite direction of where
in our dump truck?
In a dump
so
truck?
he could go buy cigarettes?
Yes.
Because they're cheaper at Flying Eagle.
Like, wait, you went 5 miles out of your way the wrong direction, which makes 10.
5? It was like 12. It was like 12
from
miles.
From here to Gliding Gliding
Yeah,
Eagle?
he left our yard, went to Gliding Eagle. That's 12 miles. and
That's
back.
12?
That's 24 miles out
It's
of his
not
way.
12 miles to Gliding Eagle.
Yeah, it's 8 miles from Albertsons to my house, and then it's like another 2 here. I've clocked it, man.
Well,
Just
well,
trust me.
well-
You don't sit and challenge me on it unless you want to go run the thing right now. I'm getting sick of that these days.
Well, right now, I'll just tell you because of it's 3.9 miles away from here.
As the crow flies.
No, on my iMaps. Gliding Eagle, 3.9 miles from here. I didn't have to challenge you. I let the internet take care of it. The internets.
3.9. So where's my house is another. I'm 2, so 5.
So you're-
anyways. Point is, either way, I'm driving down Hansville Highway, and here comes my dump truck, and I'm like, I thought we were down.
You want to know what's so funny? How I knew it wasn't 12 miles? Because I know the emotional take it has on me when I see 12 miles to your destination. I'm like, God, that's so far away. Like time to me is a trigger. Like when I'm driving to a job site to check something out, and I see on my iMaps it's just a long straight blue line down the freeway, and it's like 12 miles to go, and I'm like, I'm going to go in a straight line for 12 miles, and I know at the speed I have to go, this is how long it's going to take to get there. And so I'm literally just twiddling my thumbs the whole time, just like trying to not pay attention to the road.
I'm trying to figure out where I got 12 from. I rode my bike to the office. Maybe it was 12 to the office, the other office. I'm like really disturbed right now because that's like dead set in my mind.
Well, maybe it was in another life.
Probably.
Maybe it's just old memories coming back. Okay, I think I am just not intelligent enough to keep up with the conversation of what this life is about when you hear people talk about like, well, maybe we're in a matrix. And I try to wrap my brain around it, but I'm like, but if I were to like take a pair of pliers right now and pull out a tooth, it's going to hurt like a freaking son of a bitch. So now with the pain I'm experiencing, with the reality I'm experiencing, tell me I'm in the matrix as I'm pulling my canine out. Like, tell me. It's like, no, this is reality. Like, this is just reality. We're not in the matrix. It's like I'm an organic life form that's existing, and that just is what it is. Am I not understanding the thought processes right? Am I like totally off base with how they describe it? Like this life being a matrix. Like it's not like the traditional Christian view of we're born, God created us, and we're here, and now we're going to go to heaven when we die if we're good.
Well, I think the Matrix is most similar to like simulation theory. Like we're in some kind of simulation. Like we're
Yeah.
experiencing some kind of advanced VR, I guess.
But the pain and the feelings and like the VR, that's crazy because like your hair grows, it falls out, your teeth go yellow if you don't brush them, you go blind if you look at something too bright. I mean, there's all these.
Well, not only that, and why would you program in some of the suffering?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
not just your personal
sick
suffering. but
creator.
I'm saying like, why would you program in the Holocaust? Like, why would you allow that if we're into some simulation theory?
Even if it was that case, yeah, who would even have that thought to be able to do that or want to do that, like to put that into their simulation?
Yeah, and so like in the Matrix, you know, they're being mined for whatever
Power. Their
yeah,
bodies
So
produce
then it's
power.
like, oh, you're just creating. But in the Matrix, you know, there's like this assumption, like they showed New York City, the mass of people just doing their thing, and it's like, even in the Matrix, it doesn't explain suffering.
Why do people shit?
Like why would they do that other than just to keep you like I don't know, keep you in the dark?
I don't know, man.
It's weird.
Why
I
do
don't
people
believe it.
shit on people who drink 1 gallon water jugs? I mean, you look dumb. I look dumb drinking that, I'll admit, because you could just drink a 20-ounce water bottle. But if I fill that up, that's all I need all day long. I don't got to go buy another water bottle and then another water bottle because you're supposed to drink. What are you supposed to drink, like
So
60 ounces
I was
a day?
with you when you bought that today.
That's a different one.
Oh, did you drink the other one all the
No,
way?
I left it in your truck, and then I filled that one up at the hose outside.
Okay, I was
I'm
gonna
a
say.
hose drinker.
I was gonna say because I was like, you haven't. You got some ground to cover here, buddy. Before you get to bed, if you're trying to finish that.
I don't try to finish them. So that's the other thing is people think because you carry around a gallon that you're trying to drink a gallon a day.
Uh-huh.
I carry around the gallon because I know I'm not going to run out.
Dude, you know what the best thing? I still have it. I have a mug that I bought at Maverick years ago that's a 100-ounce soda mug.
That's disgusting, man. That's
Well, it's just one of those.
Where would you put it in your car?
Oh, it fits in my middle console perfect. It fills the whole
dude, that's
spot.
like a popcorn bucket.
It's a soda. It's a 1 gallon. It's just barely more than a gallon. It's like what's the gallon? Like 96 ounces
I
or
don't know.
something?
I like soda, but not that much.
Anyways, but it's like I don't have to drink soda. You can fill it with water or whatever. But if you put ice in it, it'll keep the ice cold all day because it's that insulated mug. It is like the coolest thing. When I break it out, I'm always like, I should just use this every day.
Yeah.
Because it keeps whatever you want, cold or hot, and it's got a straw. It's just like this. It's a gallon. I mean, it's a perfect.
They make neoprene sleeves that go over gallon jugs. So you can, with pockets on it, so it could be like your everything for the day.
So you can put your phone.
You can put your phone in it. Like you can put your keys in it. So like this jug, you just carry it everywhere with you. It's like your purse, but has water.
That's funny.
Yeah. Either way, I was just wondering like why people shit on people who drink out of gallon jugs, because I shit on people who drink out of gallon jugs when I see it. But total hypocrite about it.
Yeah,
total hypocrite.
That would be the reason then. I don't know. I mean,
I'm projecting on. I'm like, what a loser.
What a loser.
What a piece of crap.
Can't afford some smart water. Drinking from a hose.
First time I bought Voss,
Uh-huh.
I felt so rich. I was so dumb. It was like, this is just water. Why would I pay $5 for water?
Why would you feel rich? And why would that be?
Because it's like rich water. That's
were
what
you
I
trying
thought
to
at the time.
impress anybody?
No.
Did you think it would be different, or was it just like, I'm doing this?
I thought it would be you know, when you do things in your life to be like, I'm hiring my quality of life right now, and I just do this now.
Okay.
I thought it was like that type of thing. Like, you know, as you age and you make more money in your life. Like when you were 20, you didn't care if you slept with a blanket.
It's kind of like at some point in your like 20s and you're in the hustle, you're like, I tuck my shirt in now. I'm like a professional. I'm gonna wear a collared shirt.
Well, it's
and like there's like a day it switches, and then there's a day where it switches back where you're like, I'm not wearing a collared shirt anymore.
Well, it's like eventually like your bed's not in the corner, it's in the center. And then eventually you don't have a blanket, you actually have a comforter, a sheet, and a fitted sheet. Like you go up in life and you eventually just start improving your quality of life. I thought that was like one of those things like I drink high quality water now. It's going to change the quality of my life. And it happened one time.
I don't use regular. I use premium gasoline.
Yes, exactly. You know what I
There's no carbon on my valves in my engine.
I used to put premium in all the time because I thought it was the best. And I read an owner's manual one time on one of the cars I used to own, and it said 89 was the recommended octane for the vehicle. And it was like, I didn't understand why. I don't remember. There was no internet back then. There was no phones to look up stuff. So I just had to assume 89 was the octane that engine was designed to run on. Because maybe when it was designed 20 years before that, it was the octane that was available.
My wife's car is the same thing. It's designed to run on like regular.
Yeah.
But I think it has a lot to do just like, because my BMW Z4, it had to run on 92 or 91, whatever the highest is.
Same thing as a Mazda Miata, right?
No, very different. Very, very different. Not the same. No.
I know it's a trigger for you because I remember you were like, I got a BMW. I'm like, a lot like a Miata, isn't it? You're like, because I was being genuine. You're like, because I didn't know what a Z4 was. I was like, isn't that like a Miata? You're like, wah! I spent all this extra money to have a Z4. You better not call it a Miata.
Oh, those days.
Dude, weirdest thing ever. I'm on deployment. I get home on my 6-month vacation, mid-tour vacation, and first thing, you're like, dude, hop in the BMW, and we do cookies in the Home Depot parking lot outside a steakhouse. And I'm like, this is cool. Can I get back to my family now? I haven't seen them in 6 months. You're like, yeah, I guess I just wanted to show you my toy.
Yeah, I was excited.
I know you were. You're like, look, and you're pushing buttons and peeling out, and you're like, traction control, no traction.
It had a sport mode.
Mode.
It dropped the car like 2 inches or whatever, an inch or whatever it was. And
yeah.
That car was fun. When we would commute from American Fork to Boise, we'd go over that Schweitzer's Pass, and that car was cruise governored at 160. And going down the hill, I could get it to 160, and then I could get it to kind of get a little up.
160 in that car, though, felt safe, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's designed for speed.
Yeah.
Like 160 in your truck would feel like you're about to launch to the moon.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I go 100 in my truck all the time, but it was safe. I mean, safer. It was little
How
cars
was it
close to
room
the
wise?
road.
Because you were just talking about when you would take the road trip from Utah to Idaho.
Mhm.
Was it relative to the Mazda me and you would sit in? when we
No,
would
it was
commute?
probably 6 inches wider.
It was wider.
Yeah.
Okay, because we would.
I never felt like I was sitting on top of Johnny.
We had to argue over the armrest in that Mazda.
No, never had that. It wasn't as wide as our trucks, with like a big armrest where you
Yeah.
can't touch. But the armrest was like enough that both elbows could be on it.
No, okay, so this is a point in our lives where we're hustling for money. We're really doing whatever we think is right, like whatever the word hustle means. Like just work hard, but we're not working 9 to 5 at a gas station or whatever.
Oh, we were doing salesy stuff.
Salesy stuff, real estate, and just selling real estate and trying to get people to buy real estate and seminars and all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
We get up 6 a.m. I meet you at your house at like 7:30. We hop onto the ferry to go across into Seattle to drive to Renton. So we're already talking an hour and a half commute.
Well, first thing we do is we go spend what little money we
Hold on,
have
that's where I'm getting there. So we cross this ferry and we hit the first McDonald's. And we get these burritos that are wrapped by Cubans, apparently, because you bite into that thing while it's still hot, it's going to squirt on your face and give you third-degree burns. Wrapped so tight.
Wrapped like a little Cuban burrito.
Oh, my God.
thing.
But, okay, I mean, in my whole life, never had stretch marks until that 1 year period. I only lived here 9 months when we did that. In 9 months, I must have gained 40 or 50 pounds. We had McDonald's on the way to work, and it would just be like, nom, 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 nom. You would hear nothing but breathing and saliva for 10 minutes after we went through that drive-through. No talking, no nothing. We're just chomping down on McDonald's.
Wrappers.
Yeah, with a freaking Coke or tea or something with sugar in it. Then we would get to the office, and I'd be unmotivated to work because I just ate a bunch of junk, like food that's not energizing
Just
at
to
all.
get your day started.
Dude, get your day started with a downer. And I'd get there, and it'd be like, all right, what are we doing? And we'd just kind of get into a groove and go. The day would suck dick all day long for me because I was the tag along trying to make REOs work. I'd go out and check out houses every now and then for you and Darren. And it would just be like I was trying everything I could to make a buck. Everything. In 9 months, I made $1,300. In 9 months, I made $1,300.
You get a sweet unemployment check coming, though.
In 9 months, I made $1,300. And then, okay, so that was our day. And then we'd go home. We'd take the same ferry home usually, or we'd drive the loop. It doesn't matter, to the same time. And we'd eat wings at that bar at the ferry if we ever stopped, which it almost always did. Or we ate Taco Bell. That was when the $5 box came out. And at lunch,
It was like painful to eat that.
dude, breakfast would roll through to McDonald's. Lunch, while we're at the office, would go down the street to a bento place, get a bento box, or we got at
Just
that time
some fast food. It was
at
just
that
fast
time,
food.
it was. I remember being 2 or 3 places at the most during lunch. We went and got bento, or we went to KFC and got the double stacker.
The double stack, yeah. The double down.
The double down, and then that's honestly the only places I remember eating at
Qdoba?
lunch.
Didn't we go to Qdoba?
Not me.
I did later. Later,
Yeah.
I started going to Qdoba a lot.
Yeah, not me. And then we go back to, and then we would eat Taco Bell or this bar for dinner. This was 5 days a week for 9 months. And we would work Saturdays too. I remember we'd do stuff on Saturdays. Dude, my stomach had stretch marks. My titties had stretch marks. My armpits had stretch marks. I grew so fast. I think I weighed 255 when I left, and I got here at like 210. Dude, it was unreal. It was unreal. I bet I couldn't have ran a mile in 10 minutes if there was $1 million sitting at the
That was
finish
rough.
line.
I remember after you left, I was still involved in scouts, and it was February, and we were doing a planning for the summer high adventure activity, and they were talking about all these hikes they wanted to go on. And I've always been active, except for this window of time a few years prior to this, where I'm just eating fast food and sitting in a car all the time. But we're talking about hiking the Pacific Crest Trail and 75-mile hike in 6 days. And
Were you thinking, oh shit, or were you thinking, yeah, I could do this?
I'm sitting there like,
You can hear your mouth breather at this point.
We had gone on a day hike up Hurricane Ridge, and hike this big ridge line, and it was like 4 miles.
Did you take John Kelly with you on one of the hikes where he got left behind and got lost? Were you with him?
No, that was Marmot Pass.
Because I was here when that happened.
Yeah, no, I wasn't with him on that.
Okay, continue your story.
But anyways, so hike this ridge. My feet. I mean, I had actual ski poles that I brought with me. Not even trekking, legitimate Scott ski poles.
By the time the hike was over, you were full on leaning on those things.
I wore those Belvedere boots I bought at the PX in Gowan Field.
Army boots.
I had
AR 670-1 compliant, mind you.
Both my feet, my heel was blistered and gone. All the pad of my foot was blistered and gone. I mean, it was like I had so much blood. My sock was just soaked in blood. I had to clean those shoes. I had just blistered. And then on top of that, physically, like I could make the hike, but it was like thighs or it was too much. And so then it was like I just barely recovered. I was just barely walking normal again. And we're sitting on this table talking about doing 75 miles, and I couldn't even handle like 4 or 5. And I'm like,
Guys.
I'm breaking a sweat at the table as we're looking at the pictures of this hike.
You're breaking a
And
sweat
I'm
just
going,
listening.
I'm never going to make it. I lost 60 pounds in the next 4 months getting ready for that hike. And I was like, I can't do it. It changed my life.
You were getting nervous. You were sweating under the armpits just hearing about the hike.
Because I'm a call, the Mormon church. I'm called by God to be a scout leader, right? And we're doing this hike, and I'm like,
because God, in everything He's busy with all the fucking rapists and pedophiles in the world, He takes a second to look down at you and be like, Taylor John Attackus, he's got the scouts,
something like that. But
something like that.
Anyways, I was just like, jeez, man. And it scared me straight. I did Metafast with my Aunt Patty. That's when I did that and lost a lot of weight. It actually was really good for me. It just made me have control over it. That was the first time in my life I got control over my weight.
You have that heater on down there still?
Nope, turned it off.
Okay. Getting lightheaded over here.
Dude, I'm getting chilled, man.
Chilled?
What's going on? Why is it like this?
Dude.
Why?
Well, because your heartbeat is like 40-something beats a minute, and I'm resting at like 60 or 70 beats a minute.
Just kicking off more heat.
Just way higher metabolism. I'm going to die a lot sooner than you.
That's crazy. Anyways, I remember that, and it was just like, and I totally remember, like, Brian Cleaver was sitting next to me, and I was like, and he's like so skinny. He's like, yeah, it'll be great.
I don't remember how it felt because I left here in August, 2 weeks before elk season started in Idaho. And when I got back there immediately, I was like, all right, I barely was moved into my new apartment. Yeah, apartment. I was barely moved into my new apartment because we had went to your family or my family's house and stayed there for a week while we were looking for a place to live. And it was like, all right, see ya, Eva. Then I just went hunting for like a week, 2 weeks, something like that. I don't remember being out of shape, but I had to have been. I had to have been dying. Because I went with TJ, and he weighs 145 pounds. And I mean, he was probably dragging my ass all over the mountains. Because I remember he did that to me one time, tried to drag me around and wear me out, like to teach me a lesson about being, I don't know, if he hated it that I was slow, or if he was trying to teach me a lesson that being fat was bad, or I don't know what he was doing, but he threw up.
He threw up, not you.
Because he was trying to set the pace so high that by the time he almost got to the top of the mountain, I could see him about 150, 200 yards away, and he's just hunched over hurling. And I'm like,
what's going on, man?
Yeah, and I was like, we didn't have anywhere to go. We were like hunting our way back to the truck. And then my loud ass, there was an elk right at the top of the hill. And as I was getting close to him while he was still throwing up, I'm yelling to him to talk because it's like we're real close to the truck at this point.
Yeah.
Whole day hunt. We make like a 10-mile circle and we're on our way back to the truck. And there's a 6x5 standing up by the truck. We crest the peak and he sees us and we see it.
Why is that not a strategy? Why is just going to your hunting spot, parking your truck, and then just pulling off 50 yards and hanging out?
It is
not a strategy.
It is a strategy. So I heard on Meat Eater they talked about it when they hunted here in Washington in I think Unit 172. They were glassing another ridge where a really huge bull was only about 40 yards below the logging road, bedded down all day long, never moved once.
While truck cars are just
ATVs. They're not really truck traffic, more ATVs and motorcycles. Hunters all day long, just It'd be silent for an hour. It'd be silent for another hour. There'd be like a dude passing every half hour to an hour, and that bull wouldn't even flinch. He knew they were up there, and he knew he was safe where he was.
Yeah.
They could have parked and went down and shot him, but they didn't know he was there. You can't see him.
Yeah.
And they're on a ridge half a mile away as the crow flies watching this thing.
Well,
and
every
it's
time we encountered him up at Gifford, Pinchot, every time we encountered them up there, they were always like on the time on the horses, they were just right below us. Just
Well, they were magical for one.
yeah, but
They
they
would-
they were like boop right there.
Dude, they would disappear. They would disappear. You knew they were there because you could hear them.
Well, in that case, we busted them. We heard them
Yeah.
breaking through the sticks. But I'm just saying, like every time they've been pretty close. If we were in Idaho, we'd probably see them. But here, we can't see them through what we're looking through. But
Yeah.
like it has been one of those things where it's like, oh, you're really close. Like you would in Idaho, a Rocky Mountain elk would have busted, or
So-
mule deer would have busted.
so
But
that's
blacktails and rosies, they just sit.
That's one thing that, okay, I have a different view on this. So I've heard people really criticize Joe Rogan because he's been into hunting like the last 7 or 8 years or whatever, really hardcore. But he's been rich the whole time, so he's been able to go on quality hunts every time he goes. And I'm okay with that. I don't think that's a problem at all. But some people have a problem with it saying, oh, you're lucky you get to go hunt on private ranches. That's not hunting.
Yeah, I'm lucky. Yeah, he's lucky.
But I have a view that he's unlucky because you actually get a lot of joy out of hunting public places, public land. The experience is well worth it, even if you don't kill something, because you're going to hike your ass off all day. You're going to giggle a shit ton because things get so funny when you're out of energy, when you're just dog tired and someone accidentally farts and shits in their pants, and you laugh until they go off in the woods to clean out the crap out of their underwear. Or you're like, I got to go to the bathroom, and they go over there and they're like, I was gone longer than expected because I accidentally pooped on my foot.
So here's a question. Do you really think that's the case, though, given the fact that every year, the last 5 years that we've gone hunting, we've been skunked?
Well, Washington's
And
a
we've been pretty like
Eh.
I think that you need to have
No,
some
no, no,
success.
no.
Otherwise,
No, you do.
You just got to go camping.
You actually don't have to have this success, and if you're defining success as killing an animal, as long as you're having the experiences with the animals. We don't have any experiences with the
I
animals.
know.
With that 1 year that I took you to Idaho, that was that week we had. If you only did that,
You were super depressed about that week.
well, because I knew it was possible to kill an elk and we didn't.
Yeah, and you were like, we weren't getting in them.
Well,
We got into them day one, and we never got into them again. Like
Yeah, we
actually,
did.
you and I did that last morning.
so we got into
That was
them.
it.
We got into. So I remember I got there I got there a day late. So you and John hunted by yourselves for a day.
We didn't
and,
see anything.
and I got there that night, and you guys were like, "There's nothing here," and I'm like, "Shit." So that morning we woke up and we walked the logging road, and there was nothing. It's like, oh, we got to move. They're not here. There's no reason even staying in this draw. So then we went down the mountain, relocated the camp, and then got into him at noon with his daughter. Remember?
No, so I remember that, but I never saw anything.
Oh, we didn't see them, but they were within. I mean, we were calling to them, and they were calling to us, and we just kept pushing them.
My perspective is so skewed because remember the day before I was like, "Are we gonna eat?" You're like, "We're like on the elk," and I'm like, "Oh, are we?"
That was after.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, think of.
I know.
So when you guys were here, and I'm like, "Dude, they are so far away. Are we gonna?" And then John was like, "Oh, do you see it over there on that other mountain?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"We're not hiking to the other mountain, man. So why do we care?"
So
So for me, I don't.
that scenario exactly.
I
where
thought
you're,
I thought we were yelling
I
at him
know.
like 2 miles away.
that
and I was
exact
like, "I don't
scenario.
care."
That exact scenario where you were like, "Hey, he's on the other mountain." That was hikeable. If he would have stayed there, we could have made it there in 30 minutes because he was down and up another draw. Like that was doable, but he wasn't going to stay. We just kept pushing him. That's why we just pulled off. That experience. Then the next day when
I wasn't super tuned in on the fact that we were on elk.
I know it's fine.
Okay.
But then the next day when that elk walked right across you and John,
Yeah,
and
that
I'm
was-
standing there like hands up in the air like bros, what do I got to do for you, man? What do I got to do? That elk walked in front of both of you. What do you
That
want me to
was
do?
so bad,
and all I
man.
hear is nothing but excuses, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
That was so
You
bad.
couldn't ask for a better setup. Go over there by that tree. I almost did the version of
Okay, I gotta-
Sandlot where I told you to stick your mitt in the air.
All right, I want to make a comparison. You know how I train at work, where I'm like, go stand over there and just do it.
Okay.
That's how you were like, go back. I went behind the tree. I didn't have a shot.
Yeah, I know. So
Like it was one of those like, I've never been
I know.
hunting.
I didn't know to tell you not to stand behind the tree. Like, you can't kill an animal if there's a tree in between you and the animal. I thought you might have known that, but apparently.
Well, I was like,
didn't-
I didn't know how good my camo was. I didn't know. I just
yeah,
didn't know,
it didn't
man.
cross your mind that it would be really hard to shoot. Like, it's not like you're fighting someone. You're wanting to kill them, and you want them to be in front of you.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it.
I was like, and it was one of those things. Like the moment he came walking, I was like, now I can't move, and I'm totally behind this tree.
You're pinned.
I'm pinned.
So, and you didn't know to draw back before he got there and all that. I get it. So,
Well, and also, again, I got to the tree, and he was coming down the hill. So
Yeah.
it was like it all. I was not prepared. I've never. It was like,
but put it,
there
but
was
put
no
it, but put
setup.
it this
It was
way.
just so fast.
You're saying in Washington, like you got to kill something, or else it's kind of shitty because we've had a shitty 5 years.
no, no, my
Just
perspective
imagine
is,
if every year was like that year we went, I'd still be excited because day one we had nothing. Day two we relocated camp and got into him that afternoon with John and his daughter. He had to take his daughter home. So then the next day, or he had to take his daughter home the day after that. So then the next day I called the bull in right into our laps, and we had action all morning. Then the afternoon was dead. Then the next day he had to take his daughter home. It was dead that day. And then I remember like the last 2 days we were, calling them, but they were so far away. But then the day John came back, it was action. Like we were in them all morning. Remember we were climbing up the mountain trying to go get them.
John wasn't with us, so that was just you
No,
and
it was
I.
just me and you.
Okay,
But it was the day he was coming back.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember we got back to the trailer,
That's
and then
right.
afternoon he came
And we were
back, and
like,
we were like,
"We're
they're
out."
gone.
yeah,
Yeah, because I mean,
we were just burnt out.
we were
walked-
just racing the thermals that morning. That's all
Yeah.
we were doing was trying to beat the thermals, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Either way, that week we didn't. I released one arrow because there was another moment where when we were at our old camp,
You clipped. We went back.
I clipped
to
a
check it out.
branch. So in a week, I loosed one arrow on an animal, and it hit a branch, and I missed. And we had a bunch of other experiences. If that alone only happened every year, it would keep me motivated
Yeah.
enough
That
to
was a
buy a
super
new
fun
bow, to buy new arrows, to go and jogging every other day or every day to stay in shape. It would keep me motivated enough to think it's fun to do. And I'm sure Rogan has an amazing time because he's actually killing animals every single year. So I guess I have a different perspective. Some people are mad because it's like, you're not really hunting. And I'm like, well, he doesn't even know what he's missing. He doesn't even know the adventures he's missing by hunting public land because he'll never know because he can't go hunt public land.
Well, he hunts public land. He hunts public land with Renella. They've gone on public land hunts.
They've
But he
got-
goes with Renella. That's the thing.
They've gone on a couple, and it's secluded public land hunts. They take a river 10 miles downstream where there's no other people.
Okay.
Like,
I-
they're public land, but they're guided. He's got a guide with him.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm like,
I just think he deprives himself. He doesn't know what he's missing. Like, best memories in the world are just hunting with buddies. Like, just exploring,
he did
adventuring.
go, he did go to Fognac Island and
Yeah.
sit in the rain for a week and speaks fondly but
Well, he didn't go to a
depressingly
Fognac. He went to
about Prince Albert Island.
Prince of
Albert-
Wales.
Prince Wales.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Stuff like that. Okay. Joe Rogan's been hunting.
That's
A
legit.
total of what? 9 times?
No, he's been way more. But I'll say Prince of Wales is legit. That's a legit public land hunt. They had to fly in. It was very expensive, I bet. But if you lived there, it wouldn't be that expensive. That's a legit hard
Yeah.
public land hunt that no one has a leg up on anyone.
Yeah. I don't know. I look like the public land thing. Okay, it's like tiers. Like there's levels. Like, okay, kill an animal. Like, don't talk to me about the merits of public land or private. I haven't killed an elk. I haven't done it. So to me, killing an elk is like, well, it's a pass fail right now for me. It's a fail. I haven't killed one. So
Well, it's
public
good.
land, private land, on a ranch, whatever. It's about drawing the bow back, calling them in.
Draw the parallels in life, though. The parallel in life is don't be focused on the outcome. Because that's what you're doing is you're focusing on the outcome of the hunt. You're
No,
not
but
focusing
no. I'm saying casting shade at Joe Rogan because he doesn't.
Oh,
because
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Dude, I
It's
hunt
dumb.
a lot of public land, but I'd trade all of them for one private hunt where I killed an elk.
A lot of people would.
And you can throw shade at me for not, but then again, I can go, well, I've hunted on private land for 9 years now. 9 years and I've killed 2 deer.
Who?
That's me. I've hunted for 9 years now and I've killed 2 deer.
Oh, on public land.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's pretty, so I'm just saying like,
Well, Washington's not the place to. The
but
Washington
that
is-
includes Idaho. That includes
Well,
both the deer
dude.
killed in Idaho.
Yeah, they're killed in Idaho. It's just I've had days where the day was over and it was kind of a skunk day, but you're just tired and exhausted, and you're having a mountain house on the side of the mountain. And you really do realize the memories that are being made are the ones that suck the most.
You and I have a different perspective while we're hunting, and it's been that way for basically since the first year we hunted up here. Because I'm like, I'm okay with the experience. I'm okay camping. I'm okay, like bringing the horses and riding the horses or the dirt bikes, and I'm okay like hiking. I do not like getting up at 4 a.m. every day if we're not in action, which you pretty much are the same way too.
Oh, I'm that way now. Fuck
Yeah.
this place, man. Just
Yeah.
go for fun.
But I'm totally okay going up there with the expectation of just walking around and drinking in the evening and watching Reno 911. Like I'm completely okay with that being the objective of the trip.
I'll tell you right now, I will
But
never go hunting
it was-
here in Washington again without my camper.
It was rough.
I'm not
the
hiking
first 2
in.
years when the objective really was to kill an animal. You and I, come day 5 and 6, we were like, hike uphill, no hike downhill. The wind's going up, the down, but
Dude.
because there's no pattern. We couldn't put two pieces of evidence
Never.
together and say this is what the elk are doing. The elk were up there yesterday
These elk-
morning, and this morning they're down there. That makes no sense.
These elk would fool an African tracker.
Oh, it's horrible.
If you find a man who's consistently killing elk in the
Western
Western Washington,
Upper left corner.
he either has a honey hole that he worked hard to find or accidentally found. I don't really care. He either has a honey hole or he just really
He is
knows how to hunt,
good.
or he's good.
Yeah.
Like, I can't explain it. I've tried. I'm not the worst hunter. If I get left to my own devices, like out on public land, I've taken animals. I know how to hunt. I'm not an idiot. I'm not the best. I'm not the best by any means, but I've made mistakes that I've learned from and don't make any more. I know how to work the wind. I know how to work the thermals. I know where I should start in the morning. I know where I should start in the evening. I know what plants to look for. I know where their food sources are, what water sources they want to go to, where they want to go to when they're scared. I know all those things, but it's like, dude, none of that applies here. You can know everything you want, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it.
Like Rocky Mountain elk, in the morning, they're down low, and then
They're usually making their way up.
so in the morning they're
So you're trying to
at night
cut
they're
'em
down
off.
low, in the morning they're heading up, and in the evening they're coming back down. It's
It's
so
something like
consistent.
that.
They're always on the north slopes.
I could go find someone who's adamant it's the other way around. So I guess there's no
For Rocky
set.
Mountain, too?
Yeah, there's no. It's set, but it's not set. You can find two
Point-
guys to argue both points.
Point is with Roosevelt, at least in the area we were hunting, it's not just that it's not set; it's that it's absolutely not set and random.
Well, the reason the Rocky Mountain are easier is because you can locate them. They'll respond generally. They'll respond to locate calls. So you could blow out a locate and be like, well, at least I know there's nothing here, but I just heard that bull respond a whole drainage over. So I know if nothing happens in the next hour and he keeps talking to me, I can spend literally the rest of the day making my way over
But
there.
there's also things like, and he's on the north side of the slope, so he's going to be on that side. He's
Yeah.
whereas with the Roosevelt, like we'd be like, okay, that elk was on the north side.
Now
And
he's on
then-
the south.
and then like the next day we'd be doing calls and be like, it's on. Why is all this like we'd be walking
It's
up a
dead
south
silent.
side, or we'd be heading to a north slope by coming up a south side to Ridgett, and all the signs on the south side. It's like shit everywhere and rubs, and then we get on the north side and there's nothing. And you and I are like,
This doesn't make any
it
sense.
doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to blame Washington, like the west side of Washington. I don't want to blame it. I more like blame the animal. The animals are very tricky in their environment.
Yeah, they're well
It's
adapted.
they're well adapted. But you go over to Eastern Washington. Day one, I shot my deer last year with a rifle. I mean, it was 2 p.m. Got camp set up. I was with my 11-year-old, and I was like, all right, well, I'm trying to teach him not to sandbag, just in life in general. So as soon as we set up camp,
Let's get going.
I was like, yeah, no reason to hang around camp. No reason to hang around here till 4 or 5 and hit a 2-hour hunt at night. Let's just leave now and spend the next 5 hours hunting. And we go and shoot something at like 2:33 p.m. Like we got out of the truck, hiked a couple miles.
So should we break down camp and go home tonight?
Exactly. It was like we had a bear tag too. And I was like, okay, well, let's at least give a few days, go bear hunting. And it was just like, it's just different. There's sagebrush, there's open areas. We got binoculars, so we did a lot of glassing. And it's probably a pretty good area to hunt, just not where we were. I think we got lucky. You need a dirt bike to really get in there. There's trails everywhere, so you could really get 2, 3, 4 ridges over and get away from everything. Because that was a high traffic area. So the deer we shot was very used to hikers and mountain bikers.
Yeah.
Due to the lack of running he did.
Big fatty.
He was fat. He was mature. He didn't flinch when he saw us and we saw him. He didn't get all scared. His demeanor didn't change. He didn't hunker down like has to hide. He just was like, I saw him.
Most of the humans he see just walk right by him.
Yes. I saw him because he saw me. Because I see white out of the corner of my eye, and I turned my head because of the white coming underneath his chin to his chest. I saw him do this, and then I just saw the profile of the antlers. And luckily, I normally have never had a rifle, but luckily I had a scope on it too that had a 24 magnification, which is freaking unreal. They're usually just 3x9 or 4x12. I magnified it all the way because in this part of Washington, you had to have a 3-point or better. You had to shoot a deer with more than 3 points on their antlers. And I couldn't see it with my binos. I had 10 power binos. I pull them out, and I'm like, I can't tell how many points are on him because he's facing me, and then he'll do a side profile. And
Just
I'm like,
quick,
just can't be too sure. So then I just cranked down the rifle scope, got my pack off. I mean, this deer gave me all the time in the world. If it was like a skittish deer, would never shot it.
How far out was he?
Not 100 yards.
Okay.
Too far away to identify,
Yeah,
a
70, 60. Yeah, that's still pretty far.
Yeah, it's far enough. You had to have.
Yeah, because you're looking for a little.
Yeah, because he was a 2x2 for sure, but he had a
little
bunch.
forky.
He had a bunch of stickers off of him, and you only have to have a 3-point. So one of those points only had to be longer than an inch.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision, and finally I did, and I was like, well, if we shoot it and we get it and we get up there and it's not a 3-point, we'll just go turn ourselves in, pay the fine, and I mean I was like, I got to make a decision at some point.
Yeah.
So finally shot it, and I walked up on it, and I felt great because I was like, whew. Because I would have turned myself in. I wouldn't have tried to poach it and hide it. And I'd just been like, well, go down to fishing game and see what they do. They're not going to put me in jail or anything.
Yeah.
So
I just go in. I glassed him. I thought I had him. He's a 2, not a 3.
yeah, they would.
What do you want to do?
They'd probably make me pay a fine, and then they'd probably suspend my license for a year or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who knows?
who knows? But yeah, we were talking. You were asking where we were gonna go this year, and I don't really know. If we go in September bow hunting, let's just pick a spot on the map. I'm going up this Sunday to go look at some places, so I don't know. I honestly don't really even care anymore, to be honest. I just like going now. I used to really care because I wanted to kill things.
Let's take the dirt bikes this year for sure.
Yeah, well, I thought Taylor ran over his own dirt bikes in his truck the day we were supposed to take them to go where?
Hunting.
Was it to go hunting?
Yeah.
That was a year. That was last September.
Yeah. Yeah, they bounced out of the back of my truck.
Dude, yes, because that was the
It was
plan
in the
we
back of my
had.
truck. It bounced off the trailer.
Yeah, that was the plan we had, was to dirt bike into this spot, and with the dirt bikes out of the equation, it pretty much just flubbed up the whole week.
Yeah.
It was like, well, what do we do now? I don't want to walk 10 miles into there because there's no way if I shoot a Roosevelt elk I can walk 10 miles out.
Yeah.
I'd have to cut his hindquarters in half.
Yeah. No, we should definitely take him this year, though.
I'm for sure done with where we normally go. I'm done.
I'm fine with that.
I don't want to waste any more of my life in that area.
Dude, no, I don't have a problem with that.
So, yeah, so that's the decision you have to make. There's so many parallels in life. You have to know when to get off the pot. Like, you've been on social media too long. You need to wipe and get on with your life. Dude, for year 1 we hunt and it sucked, but I'm like, I'm not just going to give up. There's potential here. Year 2 goes by and I'm like, okay, I gave it 2 years. This really
year
blows.
2 we came home and we were like, okay, this area's not going to kick our butts.
We're gonna kick its butt.
You could easily strike out year 1. I mean, that happened to us in Idaho. You could just strike out. And it's like, year 2, okay, this area's a challenge. We're going to make it work. Year 3, we brought the horses year 2 and 3.
Yeah,
we covered miles. We went places no one had ever been.
Yep.
The guys in camp with us had never been to the places we were taking the horses. We were following sign. I mean, we were doing everything we
gave it 100%.
Gave it 100%.
Then that's 3 years in a row now giving 100%.
Yeah. So then the
fourth year we kind of just fucked around. 5th year was last year, and I remember being like, I've brought Reno 911. I've brought plenty of tri-tip. Like, we're camping, basically. The first morning, I remember getting out of bed at 11:30. I remember that because you were like, dude, I was about to go get you up because it's like almost noon. I'm like, yeah, I needed some rest. And then every morning after that, I don't remember getting up before 7.
I don't think we had any morning hunts.
We did, but we get up at like 6:30 or 7.
Go, yeah.
Nothing too early. we would wake up to hearing everyone else leaving camp. Oh, everyone's out of camp. We should probably get up and go hunting. Can't stay here forever.
I'm excited. I love it.
Dude, and that was the worst because we had all our employees wrapping up all the work. And every time you went back twice to just check on and get reports.
Well, the first time, remember, my bike fell out of my truck. I was very flustered, unloaded everything, reloaded, and I forgot all my clothes, my hunting clothes.
He gets up to camp and has no clothes.
I have no hunting clothes. I have pajamas.
So you hunted in pajamas for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And then you went home, checked on everyone. I forgot about that. No clothes. Dude, you were literally hunting in pajamas.
I wanted to just sit down and cry. I was like, this is the worst couple days of my life.
Because it's almost 3 hours to get up to camp.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. And then you get back and you come back up with all your stuff and you're like, dude, things are great down at work. All the guys are getting their jobs done. They're mobbing themselves out.
I came back like on Tuesday, so,
Dude.
like I went back Monday night, Monday, Tuesday came back.
Then we went back in to get rain gear because it rained literally the whole week, and that's when we called everyone, made sure everything was
Did
good.
we go all the way back in town or just
No,
into
we went into Spanaway to that GI store.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so that week goes by and we think everything's great. Well, the next following weeks unfold that week was terrible. We paid for a week's worth of crews to work full time, and they did the job of half a crew. They dug 2 foundations in 5 days, and that was 3 crews working.
Yeah, and it was like, and then I thought that they'd gotten the storm water. Like at
Yep.
Cobblestone, I just assumed they did everything else.
They did one
They
thing.
didn't do anything. All they did was cut the foundation.
Yep,
You know what's crazy? I cut that April foundation
with the mini.
in hours.
Yep,
Hours. And it's a big foundation, and I had to track the dirt.
yep.
They cut that cobblestone foundation during the entire week. And I'm like, it's a smaller footprint, even with the mini. And it wasn't
Yep.
deep. It wasn't the same depth. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like, oh, you're incompetent.
The dirt was a lot harder out at Leroy's place. A lot. With a lot of rocks. It squim, had all the potatoes in it. Still
Still.
a
Yeah.
week. A
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
So, oh man, worst feeling ever when you think everything's okay and then it all unfolds later on because you don't have enough money. You're like everything was okay because we floated all those mistakes with the money we had, and now it comes time to get our invoicing in, and it's like, wait, why is
Wait. We just spent more money on payroll than what we're
yeah,
invoicing.
why is invoicing short? And then we go back to all the invoices that were sent in, and we go back to that particular week, and we're like, 2 invoices got sent that whole week? 2? There were 3 crews working. How did we only send 2 invoices in 5 days?
Yeah. It was like, and then what we get done?
When you do the math, you're like, there were 3 crews working for 5 days. That is technically, you should have had 6 invoices.
So we've got that one of the foundations they cut then still does not have a foundation in it.
yeah, well, not really our fault, but
I know, but I'm just like, that's the crazy, when we think about that particular builder and we think about like the client that I had to call today to reassure her and
she
stuff.
needs you to call her again. She said she never got a call.
Okay.
What do you? Yeah, I just got a text while we're talking here. Emily.
Did you say I was with him in the car when he called you?
Emily says April is still waiting for a call.
You were with me.
Yeah.
All right. We're over an hour, so let's wrap
Is she
it
the
up.
509 number?
No,
Oh.
that's someone calling on the truck.
Oh. Well, that's it. I guess I'd better go ahead and make an intro. I could do it on iMovie.
Any program you want.
All right, I'll work on that.
All right. Till next time.
All right, Anchor and the Buoy out.
Whoop, whoop.